President Donald Trump has added 20 names to the list of Supreme Court candidates he's pledged to choose from if he has future vacancies to fill. This as the Supreme Court continues to be a central issue for the 2020 U.S. presidential election. Exit polling from the 2016 presidential election indicated the number one reason Americans voted for Trump was the Supreme Court. Trump is hoping to repeat that strategy this November. Last week, the president announced he's adding 20 names to a list of Supreme Court candidates he's pledged to choose from, should a high court seat become available.
Radical justices will erase the Second Amendment, silence political speech, and require taxpayers to fund extreme late-term abortion. They will unilaterally declare the death penalty unconstitutional, even for the most depraved mass murderers.
Given this is his fourth Supreme Court list, that brings the total number of remaining possible Supreme Court candidates Trump would choose from to 44. The latest list of 20 includes 3 senators, Ted Cruz of Texas, Tom Cotton of Arkansas, and Josh Hawley of Missouri. Hawley, who's already removed his name from consideration, appeared on EWTN Pro-Life Weekly last month to discuss his Roe v. Wade litmus test for Supreme Court nominees.
I want to hear that they understand that Roe v. Wade was an act of judicial imperialism. It's wrongly decided. It represents the day that the modern Supreme Court decided to say that they'll just make up the law and they won't even try to ground it in the Constitution or in the laws that Congress wrote.
There's another name on Trump's new list who's also been a guest on the show. Sarah Pitlick, now a U.S. district judge, appeared last year as senior counsel to the Thomas More Society to discuss the president's pro-life, protect life rule.
There's very good historical evidence also that this is a reasonable application of the Title X statute and its prohibition on the use of funds in that way.
In a letter to pro-life leaders this month, Trump reiterates he will fill, quote, the Supreme Court and lower courts with judges who will respect the Constitution and not legislate an abortion agenda from the bench. Trump has called on Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden to release his own Supreme Court list. So far, that challenge has gone unanswered, but Biden has indicated at least one aspect of his judicial vision. While speaking at a Planned Parenthood event last year, Biden said he would support making Roe v. Wade permanent law. For analysis, we are now joined by our panel via Skype. Amy Howe is the co-founder of SCOTUS blog. She's served as counsel in over a dozen merits cases at the Supreme Court, argued 2 cases there, and has taught both at Stanford Law, Harvard Law, among other universities. And Marilyn Musgrave is a former U.S. representative for the state of Colorado, who now serves as the Vice President of Government Affairs for the Susan B. Anthony list. Welcome to you both. Congresswoman, first, as a pro-life leader, are there names that stand out to you on this list? The Susan B. Anthony list says it's filled with all-stars.
Oh, it is filled with all-stars. And candidate Trump made history in 2016 when he released the list. That had never happened before. And now we have even more information on those he would nominate. I have to tell you that when I heard Kentucky Attorney General Daniel Cameron speak at the Republican National Convention, I was very impressed. He spoke, he gave a warning that under a Biden presidency, countless children would lose their lives, unborn children would lose their lives. I'm also very impressed with Sarah Pitlick that you mentioned just now from Missouri, and Lawrence Van Dyke. It is filled with all-stars. These people have great knowledge and expertise and are highly qualified to be on the court.
Amy, prior to 2015 and Donald Trump's first Supreme Court list, presidential candidates did not generally release specific names of potential Supreme Court nominees. From your perspective, how significant is this, and do you see this as a new norm for the future?
It's a really interesting question. It may not be a new norm, as evidenced by the fact that Joe Biden hasn't done it yet, but perhaps on the Republican side, where the Supreme Court has been an issue for voters consistently, Republicans have always put a premium on voting because of the Supreme Court. It certainly, I think, helped back in 2016 having the list to convince voters that Donald Trump would, in fact, put conservative judges and justices on the bench if he were to be elected. And so I do think it could very well be something that at least Republican presidential candidates could do in the future.
Congresswoman, your group is attempting to reach 7 million voters by Election Day. Based on your interaction with Americans on the grassroots level, how important is the Supreme Court issue to them? What are you hearing?
Well, it's very important to them. And not only are they motivated to vote because of this issue, they're encouraging their friends and family to vote because of this issue. And I think the recent betrayal by Justice Roberts on the Louisiana admitting privileges case made people realize we do need to reelect Donald Trump so that we can have more assurance that the courts will have judges that respect the Constitution. So it's very important to them. That's why we're reaching out to all of these voters, reaching over 7 million homes.
Amy, can we predict how a Supreme Court justice might rule on the issue of abortion given their judicial history?
It's hard. I mean, they call it the Ginsburg rule after Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. When the nominee comes to the Senate Judiciary Committee and is asked about issues like abortion, they frequently decline to answer questions on the ground that the issue is likely to come before them. And so you have to look at what they've done in the past, and depending on what they've written, where they've been a judge, you may not know much about them. And so, with Justice Neil Gorsuch, for example, I don't think that he had really any abortion cases at all. We were scouring his views on euthanasia to try and figure out how he might vote on abortion cases. So it's difficult, but the president, I think, is quite confident. He has promised to appoint judges and justices who will vote to overturn Roe versus Wade. And I think that he, as Marilyn said, I think that he has probably put 2 justices on who are likely to do that. And I think that that's really why he wanted to release this list as a reminder in the upcoming election that his work in appointing justices to overrule Roe versus Wade isn't done, that they need a 5th justice to do that.
Congresswoman, from your perspective as a former lawmaker on Capitol Hill, what should pro-lifers expect if President Trump is reelected, but the Senate has a pro-abortion majority? While the president nominates the justices, it is up to the Senate to confirm them.
Absolutely. He nominates, they confirm, and we saw what happened to Brett Kavanaugh in those hearings. And some of us remember very clearly what happened to Clarence Thomas through the hearings. So it's well known that Chuck Schumer and the Democrats will adamantly oppose any nominee that the president would put forward. I think of the work that the United States Senate has done, over 200 judges on the bench, 2 Supreme Court justices. That is the legacy of this president. We must reelect him and have a pro-life majority in the United States Senate so that this could continue for the sake of posterity, our children and our grandchildren. So those 7 million contacts that we hope to have motivate people to vote because of this very issue, the future of the courts.
Amy, real quick, do you expect Joe Biden will release his own list?
I have not seen any sign that he will. He has said that if he were elected, he would appoint a black woman. So that, probably narrows the field of candidates quite a bit. But I have not seen any sign that he's likely to release his own list. And there's not a lot of time left between now and the November election.
That's right. Well, Amy Howe and Marilyn Musgrave, thank you both for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Good to be with you, Catherine.